We now return to Mega March.
Welcome back, everybody, to Mega March. This is Twitch from Reploid REVO. I am here again on Coleman X's show, or I guess our show, Ramblin' Reploids, where we are going to be discussing the differences between the Captain N interpretation of role, Ruby Spears' role, and of course the original role, and maybe a little bit of a bonus design at the end, which we will be talking about soon. Of course, I am here with Coleman X, and we have another special guest. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, it's Cole Ma'am.
Cole Ma'am. We figured that if we were going to be doing a review of Captain N's version of Roll, we figured that we would need to have Cole Ma'am's female other half, Cole Ma'am.
Yep.
And you'll see
just
that...
like Mega Girl is to Mega Man.
Exactly. So, a fun thing about Captain N is that apparently there is no character for a role. There is just Mega Man and Mega Girl.
Role has no role in that show.
Yeah, there's no such thing. There's going to be lots of puns like that, aren't there?
Just let them roll.
Well, yeah, rolling right along. Anyway. So, so I just want to preface this, which I don't know, you can edit this out later if you don't like it, but just so for pure transparency, we've recorded this episode once before, and then the recording just straight up died. It just didn't exist anymore. So
it just disappeared.
The roll puns are too powerful.
It really was. You could say that maybe Roll swept it under the rug.
Oh, that's a good one.
Still got it.
Nice.
Now, how do you think I could cut this out with something like that? Because that was good. I liked it.
See, that's what you gotta do. You gotta deliver some bad news with some good, and the good is a well-timed pun. But
yeah, this is a take 2 on this episode, but hopefully less rambly, more Reploidy.
Yeah, yes, exactly. We were actually all dead tired the first time we did this. We got a little bit more juice in us this time, so we're gonna roll right through it. That was actually not intended, but now I'm catching myself. So Captain N's version of Roll, I can't even compare her to Roll because she doesn't look like, I mean, saying that a character doesn't look like a character in Captain N is like really redundant. It's like, that's like saying like the sky is up, you know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. But she's just a carbon copy of Mega Man with like a girly recolor. Like that's all she is. And I believe
she looks like a baby.
Yeah, we couldn't get off this.
Like a little toy baby.
Yeah, she looks like a little Cabbage Patch Kid in like a Captain Video helmet over here. You know.
Captain Video, yes.
Captain Video. That joke might be a little dated for those of you who never stay up to watch the Honeymooners marathons on New Year's. But anyway, she's in like a Space Cadet helmet over here, and I believe it was Maria who pointed out her hair looks like a banana bunch.
Yeah.
She's got like a bunch of bananas sticking out. There's like she got a little Dixie Kong going on.
Yep. She got the double Dixie.
Yeah, the double Dixie. I don't know if I like the way that sounds, but but anyway, that's what we got.
Well, at least she can make banana splits whenever she wants.
Oh, that's true.
They're already splitting.
Yeah.
But
splitting hairs.
Split ends.
She pulls off the design better than Mega Man does, and it's the eyes. Like she doesn't look like a scary grandpa. She looks like looks like just a cute little girl wearing a suit going on an adventure.
Yeah,
like somebody draw Mega Man with her eyes, but without the eyelash.
We were gonna say, like, if we swapped Mega Girl's eyes with Mega Man's, like, would he look less gross? So yeah, and so like, because Mega Man has like really gross, realistic looking eyes. Like they're like a human's eyes, but just like bigger. It's like if you were to tell someone like, well, anime characters have big eyes, and they're like, ah, yes, I understand, and then drew like a realistic set of eyes, and then just like stretched them.
Oh,
like
man,
they just scaled them up, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like what they did. They didn't understand, like, you got to make these characters cute and appealing. I mean, no one anywhere in Captain N ever made anything cute and appealing. So
Well, maybe.
Lana.
Maybe they.
Well, that's different. Lana is a discussion.
That's a different kind of appealing.
Maybe the artists like they're like, okay, we need like a cute baby boy, and they're just like, boy, like, what do you mean? But like when you see baby girl, like it's easy to draw. I don't know. I as an artist, I've always had like struggles with drawing male counterparts, but females, I got down.
Yeah, it could be. Like, I don't know what was going through their head, because, like, I mean, that's a phrase, again, that you hear all the time when you hear about Captain N, but, like, what was going through their head? Because sometimes you look at these characters, and, like, the design process just doesn't make any sense. It's like,
oh, no.
I could see that you were looking at this, you know, but what you arrived at as the final product is, like, completely incoherent. I'm like, how did you even think of this?
There was no Google that said, did you mean this?
Yeah, that's what they severely needed, actually. Precisely.
They just threw that in an old version of Google Translate or Google Draw or something.
Yeah.
Did you mean this?
Did you mean Mega Girl? Well, I guess so. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, because there was no one there to kind of like correct them. And also, we discussed this last time, and also I discussed it in one of my videos for Who Exactly Is Roll, where I don't think they knew that role existed.
Yeah, it seems like it was just a good guess.
Yeah, maybe just.
I mean, it could just be like, well, we need a female counterpart, because like he's the only character who's like Mega Man. So they're like, well, that means that you could do a female counterpart, and we'll just make it Mega Girl, because everyone else was like just a name. Like, it was Simon Belmont, Kid Icarus, even though that's not his name. You know what I mean? They all had, like...
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't, like, royally mess it up by calling, like, her Mega Lady or something.
Yeah.
But again, it was, like, kids' show, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, is that I think they wanted her to seem, like, cutesy, so they were like, Mega Girl, you know? I don't know. Who knows what was going through their head, you know, besides, you know, tons of coke or something. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did want to mention, which I think Mega Girl does better than Mega Man, is that she has like a transparent visor over her face.
Yeah, instead of just a weird black mask.
We were very confused about that, and Coleman pointed out the first time around that it's like an Adam West Batman mask.
Yeah,
because Adam West's Batman, it's like a blue cowl with like a black face, like literally just the face, with like the eyebrows painted on, which is what he looks like. And I feel like they must have taken the man out of Mega Man and thought like, oh, so he's like a superhero. And who else is a superhero?
Yeah.
Batman. And so
that
they
makes
just
sense.
They just went in like that direction. But then once they realized like, oh, Mega Man is a game like all about like fighting robots and the future and technology, they were like, oh, I know, we'll just give Roll like a face visor or something. And I'm like, that's what Mega Man should have had. Like, I thought that's what it was, but then when you actually see what they draw his, you know, what they draw Mega Girl's visor to look like, you're like, oh, so he's not wearing a visor. Like, what the hell is that? You know?
Yeah, it's weird because like I get the thought process with the visor, because the sprite, you know, the giant anime eyes, like you could be like, oh, that's a visor, and then the black
or they have goggles or something. Who knows?
Yeah, because that's even what the American Mega Man 2 art did. You know, it gave him like a visor.
Oh, I bet that's what they probably looked at.
Oh, yeah, that would have been the same year.
I bet that's probably what they did, is they probably saw some of that American box art. They were like, good enough for me. You know, just...
But he's blue on that!
Well, too late. We've already made him green. We can't just go and, you know, change his color.
Blue's the color of the sky and water, and that'll be too confusing for the kids.
Yeah, obviously. We can't do that. When has a blue superhero ever been popular? Blue video game characters? Never. It's unheard of. Gotta make him green now and give him an Adam West mask, because, you know, little kids in the 80s will have known who the hell Adam West was.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm sure Batman reruns were still
well, I mean, they probably were, but I mean, come on. Like,
yeah,
it's not current, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just didn't really make any sense. But I mean, you know, they did what they did. But yeah, so moving away from the strange chubby toddler in a, you know, space helmet, I want to go back over to Ruby Spears' role. Or I guess not back over, but let's go in that direction.
Yeah, let's go there and stay there for a while.
Yeah, because we have nothing but good things to say about this design. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, this is an iconic design that is a shame that doesn't really show up anywhere else.
Yeah, I like it.
She looks like, not like classic Roll, because obviously they didn't make her look like the one from the game, so
she at least has blonde hair.
Yeah, well, yeah, she does have the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and another thing, she has the green tie for her ponytail, and
she does, yeah.
It's not a ribbon, but it's still a thing.
It's like a scrunchie.
Yeah, but you know what? They got that right, so I give them
the color right. Yeah,
that's
and she has red accents on her clothes.
Yeah,
so the dress.
And so like where Captain N diverged so far from Roll from the actual games, even though Ruby Spears' Roll also goes very far in its own original direction, what they ended up with is actually really good.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out her outfit, which it looks kind of like a mechanic's jumpsuit or something.
It's really fitting for just her character.
It makes complete sense that, you know, if Roll was built with this multi-tool in her arm, that she would have like a mechanic suit, like, so she can help Dr. Light invent things and like repair robots and do what, like, that totally clicked in my head, and like this makes absolute sense. Like, she has all these utilities, so she would be dressed as a person who, you know, would have those kind of talents. So like that totally absolutely made sense to me, you know. And speaking of her arm, that is the coolest thing that any character on screen has ever had ever. I love this arm so much. For those who don't know, Ruby Spears' Roll's arm is like this. It's not like a typical Mega Man like egg-shaped gauntlet like everyone else has. Hers is more form-fitting, but it's like this cool mechanical white thingy, and it like unfolds and unravels into like different tools or different appliances. And
pretty much anything that the episode needs.
Yeah, it is pretty much like a you know, Deus Ex arm. Deus Ex Machina, quite literally.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's turned into any number of things. Some of my favorites are things like a microwave, just a microwave on her arm, a toaster, a blender, a turbine, an earthquake detector, I'm pretty sure that they just made that one up. It's turned into a Dremel, like a little like cutting saw. It's turned into a hockey stick. Just a straight up hockey stick, you know?
Yeah.
That's just the thing. What else? I know there's like some even crazier ones. Oh, a frying pan, that's one of them. Just a frying pan in her arm for some reason.
Frying pan to hit someone over the head.
That's right, yeah. Yep. I found out that was just so funny, because I think on that episode I was expecting her to pull, like, what is she gonna pull out next? And it's just a simple frying pan.
Yeah, every time we watched an episode, Maria was really excited just to see what Roll would turn her arm into.
What is she gonna do?
You're always like curious, like, oh yeah, what is she gonna do? Because like it always turned into something, like it was always funny too. You know what I mean?
Some of them were scary though.
Oh yeah, like I was gonna say
that one person's face.
Yeah, so
screaming bloody murder.
Oh my god! So she has like a vacuum arm. We covered this last time. Even though she's Roll and she's not really like the main fighter, it doesn't mean that she doesn't get her share of action. And I think it's one of the few instances where like a boy-girl duo team was given like equal time on the air. Like it wasn't like, oh, it's just Mega Man. It was usually like Mega Man and Roll.
Like she didn't get captured every episode or something.
Yeah,
maybe like kick one bad guy.
We're talking to you, Peach.
Yeah, it was her fighting alongside her brother, and I thought that was super cool, and I really like respected her for that. But real talk, she has the most brutal kills in the entire series.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
so
let's talk about a couple.
Mega Man's got his plasma power, you know, and he blasts you, and your guy goes and he falls across the screen and breaks into like a million pieces. Whatever, fine. Roll is much more brutal, even though she's using like a vacuum or whatever. Apparently, the vacuum can suck off your skin.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one episode where Dr. Wily hacks the power grid to control appliances.
Because of course.
Because, yeah, you know, once you've hacked the power grid, you can make blenders levitate. Why not?
But they're plugged in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're not even plugged in anymore. They can just work. They just float through the air. It's just go with it. But anyway, I think in that episode, he makes a bunch of other robots go crazy or something, and one of them is like a hairdressing robot. So Roll and that robot get into like a scuffle, and to defeat this robot, she puts her vacuum to the robot's face, sucks off the robot's skin while screaming that it's getting its face sucked off. The robot looks in a mirror and then like screams and falls over dead.
Yeah, we thought Sigma on X4 had it bad when he was missing like half of his skin. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it is.
That poor lady android.
It used to actually terrify me as a kid.
It was really scary.
It was scary for me. I was like, oh my god.
And then there's
I've never seen this episode before.
In the first episode, she has like the blender turbine thing.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
She catches Electman in it, and then like
by
he falls
head.
By the head. He falls into it head first, and she's balancing him on one arm, and she turns on the thing, and it starts spinning. He spins so fast that the centrifugal force makes his body fly apart into different pieces. Like, I am confident that if you were to just go over any of Roll's like stuff, like any of her kills, and you put squibs over it, it would be like brutal. Like just blood splatters and like squelching noises. Like, it's the most terrifying thing, and she does this like almost every episode.
Yeah, she does.
I think the only kill that is more violent than a Roll kill is that one where Gutsman had his head crushed and then all like the bits were like foaming out of his mouth. Remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
Oh man.
I have to go
on.
check that out.
Here, I'll send you the picture real quick, and we'll cut.
Maybe I'll remember it when I see it.
Yeah, you'll remember it because you're the one that pointed it out. I think. I'm pretty sure.
I can't.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh my god.
Remember this one?
Oh my god.
Were you in that episode?
I don't think so. Holy crap. That is horrifying.
Right? Oh jeez.
Oh my goodness! I gotta scroll away from that. That's vicious.
That's scary. Get out of my face.
It just shows it for like a second, but yeah. Besides that, Roll gets every violent kill.
Oh my god! You know that's
nightmares.
The only other one that I think might be like somewhat. I don't know if it's scarier, but on the same level, is when I think it's in Peril Park, the Gutsman's Ass episode. It's where Mega Man shoots a plasma shot right into Hardman's mouth, and he like freaks out for like a minute. He
freaks out and starts punching himself in the head.
Yeah, he like punches his chest a bunch of times and hits himself in the head, and then he like explodes. And I was just like, oh my god! Like you shot like an explosive ball of plasma into his like. It looks like a human swallowed a hand grenade and how they might react. It was like scary.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. This is not. This doesn't belong.
He's the hero. Why?
This does not belong in my in my Mega Man. Please get out of here.
Yeah, they're getting a little too crazy with the death there.
They were prepping for the gritty reboot.
Oh my god! Yeah, the Mega Man X one.
Oh jeez.
I mean, like, I'm okay with certain cartoon violence. It's really not that big of a deal, but sometimes it just got really freaky, and for some reason, they always gave the most brutal deaths to Roll, and I feel like they might have done that to kind of be like, whatchamacallit, like maybe if it's Roll doing it, we can get away with more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that had to have been...
I never thought of it like that.
Because, you know, they did that kind of thing in RoboCop, where the movie had an X rating for a short period of time before it was downgraded to an R rating, because they just thought the movie was too violent. And a common trick that they did at the time was they would make a movie with really, really, really violent scenes, so that they would focus on that, but then keep the things that they actually wanted. So they would put in, like, worse scenes that they didn't actually intend to keep. And then other scenes, you know, that were the ones they wanted. So they would only focus on like the absolute worst. So you can have Roll like ripping a robot's face off if you make it like if you make it Roll, because no, it's not going to be as violent. Because like, oh, Roll is like the female heroine, you know, of the series.
Yeah, you know, it's similar to the Animaniacs tactic where they put so much in to like get past the censors.
Fingerprints.
I'm not doing that.
Good night, everybody.
But yeah, it's the same sort of thing. But I never really thought about it that way with Mega Man.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing a guess out.
I mean, if not, it makes her just a cooler character because it's like, yeah, don't mess with Roll. You know, it's like, oh, she's gonna broom, sweep up a mess, but then she'll rip your face off. So watch out.
Yeah, like that's what I always liked about her. You know, like I said, they always kind of gave Roll and Mega Man somewhat equal screen time. I know the show was called Mega Man. He was obviously like the main hero, but Roll had her fair share of action and things too, and the fact that you could see her defeating all the robots was like, yeah, you know what, alright, cool. Like, it made me as a person be like, yeah, for sure, girls can do anything that, like a guy could do, it kind of gave me that, like, it was equality.
Yeah.
It was equal butt kicking, and I loved it, and I really liked Roll as, like, as like a, pardon my pun, a role model. I thought she was actually very good. And so, yeah.
For a second there, I thought you were gonna call her a cinnamon roll. Cause I don't know why.
Well, I mean, cinnamon rolls are nice.
Cinnamon rolls are hot, you know.
Well, Ruby Spears roll is a little hot. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Speaking of hot, let's go back to the design.
Oh boy.
First, I want to point out the gauge on her arm. I just think that's so cool. Like, so many of the robots had that. And it's just it's a cool just like a through design that everyone mostly has.
Yeah.
And I like to think that that's like, just like, oh, I've only got this much vacuum weapon energy left, and it shows all that.
That's what they used it for in the show. Whenever Mega Man was low on health, the weird thing is that instead of giving him the meter like actual Mega Man has, they made his into like 2 buttons.
Yeah, 2 buttons, yeah.
But Roll got
it still
one.
Worked the same.
It still worked the same. I just thought it was interesting that Roll got the one more accurate to the games. But Mega Man and Proto Man did not, which I don't know why. But my guess is maybe so that they would have a button you could press to shoot the weapons out of the toys.
Back to the toys, yeah.
Back then,
but
cartoons were just there to sell us toys.
Yep.
But
and we love.
Roll also has those curly cues, and they're so hot that I can't think straight.
Laying those curly cues on the side of your head are so hot I can't think straight. Go watch Kung Pao, everyone. Yeah.
You should be able to beat him now!
There's gotta be, like, enough dialogue in Kung Pao that I could definitely overlay that on top of Roll. There's gotta be, like, a scene somewhere where I could make that work. I'm gonna have to look into this.
Oh, for sure.
Meta heads.
Yeah, so... Oh, you know what? Speaking of the curly cues, this reminds me. Classic Roll, had, like, flat bangs, right?
Yeah.
And I think she had... I don't know if Classic... Let me actually look up a picture of Classic Roll. Let me go upload one, because I have an extensive library of Mega Man pictures.
That would be great, because the latest upload is Gutsman being eviscerated.
Oh yeah, we don't need to see that. We don't need... Ugh.
But he walks it off.
He does walk it off, but I'm not gonna walk it off.
My his eye sockets, it's gross.
He walks it off, but I remember forever.
I remember forever.
They can erase his memory.
So what's interesting here?
Cute.
I know, right? So Classic Roll has like flat bangs across the top of her head, and she doesn't. She has like tiny little curly cues over her ears. And then in Mega Man 8, they gave her this kind of hairstyle. Let me actually get like a good picture of her. I'm just gonna upload this one because it's both of them and it's cute. She has the 3 bangs across the top of her head and like the bigger like hair hanging over her ear, right? What's interesting is that Ruby Spears' Roll... Oh god, I gotta go past Gutsman. Ruby Spears' Roll kind of jumped the gun by giving her like the 3 baldular bangs across the top of her head. Which is interesting because at the time, Roll did not have that. So it's interesting to see that, they... So I'm not going to say predicted, but they like preemptively added the 3 shape bangs idea to Roll before the actual designs ever did. So I thought that was really cool that they managed to do that.
They beat him by several years. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And one thing I remember being echoed about the Mega Man 8 design is that she does kind of look more like a mechanic there. Like she has like a more industrial kind of look as opposed to just being in a red dress. And I was
it's industrial, but it's like also a cute dress, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I think like sailor uniform whenever I see the little
the white thing,
the bib.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, the robo bib.
It does a little bit of everything.
It does, and I just think it's neat that Ruby Spears' role kind of was a little bit ahead of the curve on those things. It's cool. I like that. They started giving Roll a more supportive role. No pun intended again, but we're gonna be doing that a lot.
Yep.
It's just cool seeing Roll take a more active part in the story. And I'm glad that they did that. You get to she's a character that I really like, and I wish that more shows would kind of imitate the Ruby Spears dynamic for their heroes.
Yeah, it did a really good job of making both characters seem important. Like, it's even a plot point in the first episode, because he's like, I don't need any girl robots to help me, and then, he gets messed up because Roll wasn't helping.
Exactly, and
then she was like, you don't need, it's just something along the lines of like, you don't need my help, huh?
Yeah, and then at the end, Mega Man's like, oh, we all helped, and then
doesn't he get like a
even me,
like a
and
plane
then he's
dropped
like,
on
even
him?
use this.
Yeah, I don't need your
good.
help, but he gets like a plane dropped on him. And yeah, it's true. He was acknowledging, yeah, even you did help me. He wasn't. It kind of shows Mega Man learning a lesson. He got a little humble. It wasn't a moral that was stuffed in your face. It wasn't telling you see, even girls can. It was just kind of Roll's there to help. They're brother and sister. They should be helping one another. She cares about him. And I just really appreciated that. I like that, Roll could, you even see in the scenes where Dr. Light is working on Mega Man during his repairs or whatever, and you can see Roll is kind of very concerned for him, and it shows that more sweet side of her, so it's not it's not to make her relevant you just needed a female Mega Man. You can make her be her own character and still have her be a positive character in the narrative that you're trying to tell. Nothing feels forced. Sure. It feels very natural, and I really like that. That you didn't feel like she was just there because they needed a girl like you do for Mega Girl.
It's the exact opposite of Mega Girl.
Yeah, Mega Girl is there because they're well, I guess we need to include girls in this. You know what I mean? It feels like she's just there to tick a checkbox, as opposed to Roll in Ruby Spears, where I'm yeah, she should be there. She's helping Mega Man do all these things, and
she's an actual character.
Yes, exactly. She's not just a female reflection of the protagonist.
Right.
I like how going back to the brother sister thing. I like how they fight with each other.
Yeah. Yes.
Like a normal brother and sister would.
I love that. Their relationship in that show was so good because they bicker.
Very
and
realistic.
They tease and have
I'm the only one out of
sarcastic
the three of
remarks.
us that's. Oh, what was that?
I said
talked over you.
Oh, it's okay. I was just saying I like that they're sarcastic and they kind of bicker and have a certain kind of sense of humor. You can almost,
and then they'll joke around with each other.
Yeah, that's cute.
You can predict how Roll's gonna react to any given situation. Not in a bad way, she's predictable, but you can tell if Mega Man says or does something that Roll would think is dumb, she's gonna say something about it, and you know it's deserved. It's kind of I don't know how to describe it. It just works. You're I wonder what Roll's gonna say about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the only one out of the three of us that's an only child, but even I can recognize that's how siblings would react to each other. It's really neat.
It's just very natural. Now, talking about unnatural things.
Oh boy.
I want to segue to our bonus design for the night. Some of you may not know this, but there's a game that came out a little while ago called Street Fighter X Tekken, or Street Fighter Cross Tekken, however you like to pronounce it, where bad box art Mega Man, all the way from Mega Man 1, was reintroduced as a playable character. He's fat and schlubby and gross looking, and he's a bounty hunter or something. And apparently he's something, all right. He's a piece of work.
He's a piece of work.
He's a piece of work. And the person who's supporting him in all this, who helps keep the operation running smoothly, is his own version of Roll. And where Mega Man is like fat and ugly and stupid, they made Roll like a sexy supermodel for some reason.
Hey man, she's a role model.
Oh my god, yeah, quite literally.
Oh, I just got it.
They gave her like the wide hips, the thick thighs, the full lips, the giant boobs. Like they did everything,
they gave her the sexy bod.
They gave her the sexy red dress. What red dress?
The little red dress. Yep. And she's like very like lavish and like, you know, she's I'm not gonna just say it, she's a gold digger.
I like how there's like a star like expertly put over.
A star expertly censoring, you know, that part of her boobage. But that's just
her boob eyes.
Oh no. Her boob eye. That's the plural. But yeah, I don't know what they were doing here. I guess they thought this would be funny because it's like, well, Mega Man's so ugly and dumb, so like, it's funny to like pair like a big ugly dummy with like a hot, beautiful like woman.
Yeah, like the first time I saw it, it made me laugh. So they did something right.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty funny, like because it's so like out of left field. It's like, oh my god, Roll's not supposed to look like that. You know, but like I guess it works when you think about it because it's like, well, neither is Mega Man.
Yeah, I mean he's like an aged up guy, so her being aged up, like it'd be weird if she was, you know, 10-year-old Roll.
Oh,
like,
for
sure. Mega Man, calm down.
Whoa, what's happening here? This is a little strange.
What's going on?
But it is funny when you like turn them into like adults dressing up as like superheroes, basically.
Yeah,
like, you can tell it's a little bit more funnier that way. But you know, what is interesting too is I don't know if there's a design for Roll out there. We'll put it up on screen if I can find it. But in the concept art for this, they weren't going to make him like fat and dumb. They were actually going to make him kind of like lean, like a teenage character, like a futuristic. I don't know, think like a Gundam pilot or something, but you know, with less angst.
Yeah.
And
he's still got the funny costume, but he like looks cool wearing it.
They took the funny costume from the you know, American box art of Mega Man 1, and they kind of reworked it to be like a futuristic, like, I don't know, cyber suit is the best way I can describe it. And he looks like an actual, like, kick-ass adventurer in the future, you know, and I think Roll was, like, a little bit more technical. I could just be making this up, because I don't actually remember. I can't pull up an image in my head of what the concept art for Roll was, but I imagine that she was probably more close to, like, Roll Casket from Legends, but a little bit more, like, technical. Like, I could imagine her with, like, I don't know, like a holographic eyepiece or something. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of, like, technical, like, support, you know, person.
like the Iron Man thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
I can totally see Roll filling that kind of position where she's like, I'm trying so hard not to say Roll anymore.
I was just about to say, I can hear you trying to not say Roll.
I love all like the in this like in Mega Man and hers, like all the harsh like black to kind of show like the volume.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, they gave her like
she's like thick.
Yeah. It reminds me of like the Beautiful Joe shading, like, you know.
Oh yeah.
How he's like heavily shaded with black to like give him definition, but because he's like so scrawny and like chibi proportioned, like that's how they did it. It was like really heavy shading to emphasize, you know, how action oriented he is, and like it does give it like an American comics look. Like looking at these two is like what I would imagine like an American live-action Mega Man movie would look like, a very Americanized one. And I know I'm saying that with like the actual Mega Man live-action movie apparently still in production, looming over our heads. But like, I feel like in Japan they were like, what would Mega Man look like if it was an action movie? And they were like, all right, so Mega Man is played by an overweight Bruce Willis, and we're gonna just get whoever the new hot young actress is, you know, to be Roll. And like they just called it a day, you know what I mean? Like that's what it kind of looks like they did. Like they wanted it to be like an American comic or like an American movie, and kind of Hollywood hammed it up as best they could, and like that's the result. And I gotta say, like, it's pretty great because that is kind of the mentality that I think went through the head of whoever did that American box art or any of the Western box art. They all kind of wanted to take Mega Man, this cute little, you know, chubby robot, And instead of running with that idea, they're like, that's too kid-friendly. We need to make this, like, really serious. And I'm like...
Yeah, we gotta appeal to the teenagers.
Yeah, and I'm just like, who's looking at this? And, like, who looks at the cover of Mega Man 1 and is like, this appeals to me? First of all, it's bad art. Second of all, the concept is just crazy. But and they just kept doing it. If you look at all the Western box art, it's like... And the crazy thing is that they didn't let up off of that, like, Americanization with the box art until Mega Man 8.
Yeah. I mean, like, Mega Man 7 and, like, 6 were, like, just kind of, you know, doing it, but they were still doing it.
It was kind of like how they, in Mega Man 7 and 6, was kind of like how they would take the Japanese art for Sonic and then airbrush it and make it look American.
Yeah.
It was kind of like along those lines, where they would add unnecessary details to kind of make him look like that weird, like, ironing, like that weird, like, iron thing on Mega Man's back, remember?
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, that one box art, and he has this, like, it looks like an iron for ironing your clothes, but it's just on his back for some reason. Like, they just added things, just in case, you know, in case he falls on his back and lands on a pair of slacks, he'll be able to iron them.
you never know when Wily is gonna create wrinkled slacks, man.
You never know. You have to always be prepared. That's the reason why Dr. Light and Wily split up. Is because Dr. Wily...
Wily's clothes are wrinkled.
Yeah.
And like
Dr. Wily...
So OCD.
Dr. Wily used to stick their lab coats in the dryers together, and they were dry clean only, and he would, like, wrinkle them and, like, ruin them, and they never came out right. And then, you know, so, you know, Dr. Light was like, damn it, Wily, you've ruined my lab coat for the last time. We're no longer partners. And so Wily was like, you'll rue the daylight. I will forever curse you with wrinkled clothes. And from that day forth, all of Dr. Light's robots had a random iron stapled to their back. This is 100%. This is 100% canon. Don't bother looking it up. I am a reliable source.
Just update the wiki.
Update the wiki right now. Let's do it. Please don't actually update the wiki. It's filled with misinformation. I don't want to contribute to that.
It'll only be canon in the Cole fam.
It is.
We do need to make a wiki.
Cole fam Twitch.
You do need a Cole fam wiki, and you're gonna have to, like, explain all of the origins of all your jokes.
Oh,
you need to have like an entire page dedicated to Boob Eyes.
Oh man, he'll have like
most definitely.
He'll have several chapters.
We need to make a backstory.
I've actually come up with a lot of backstory. I have a lot of free time at work.
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
This role is very voluptuous.
Yes, very
she's hot.
She's hot. Let's just put it that way. She's hot. I'm gonna say Ruby Spears' role, also attractive. My first cartoon crush. Not ashamed to admit that. And I just wish there was more Ruby Spears content because I want to see more of this great character. As for Mega Girl, I just kind of wish that she could be banished to the Phantom Zone or something.
Well, I haven't seen the episode she's in, so maybe she's fine.
You know what? I have noticed that as we're watching Captain N to get a better perspective on some of these characters, I'm noticing that, like, the cartoon itself is okay. It's not bad, it's not terrible, it's just okay. But
the Zelda episodes are really good, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm noticing is not that the show is bad, but just the designs are bad. And I think if they had just made everyone game accurate, I almost feel like it would be heralded as, like, one of the greatest gaming, pieces of media ever. But because it's so bizarre, everyone's just looking at it like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, like, it's such a good idea, though, just poor execution.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I say, a Smash Brothers before Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
In concept, it makes sense. What if we just had a fictional world where all these video game characters can jump out of their worlds, mingle together in this one central hub world, and just do things? And I mean, that's kind of what, like, the plot of every Smash Bros. Game has been, is just kind of like all these characters from different video games just kind of come together, and then they have to stop a common enemy. And usually it's like enemies from other games. Like, when are you ever gonna see, like, Star Fox, fighting like Meta Knight or something, or like Donkey Kong fighting Bowser? Like, these are, you don't really see them together. So it's cool that they had this idea for, like, a medium where you could bring video game characters together and put them on joint adventures. Like, yeah, man, I would love to see Simon Belmont, you know, team up with Pitt from Kid Icarus. That's like a cool idea. Like, Simon Belmont is like, he's a vampire hunter.
Similar monsters.
They fight similar monsters, and then like Pitt is like an angel, and Simon Belmont is fighting against like evil forces. It makes sense in your head when you say it out loud, but then like you actually see what it is, and it's like, what?
Yeah, like it took a real hard left turn.
Oh man,
if you
like, really suckacuses.
Well, the original is like a series of short stories, and like I haven't read them, but if you take the concept and just take the weird art out of it, then you probably have something going.
Well, yeah, and I just think that like it's a good idea, but it's being executed by people who have no idea what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's like I feel like they stumbled upon the idea in the pursuit of money, and didn't realize that what they had was actually something that could be universally loved by so many people. But in their pursuit of money, because they were doing it for the wrong reasons, they were just kind of like, just make them look like whatever.
Yeah.
Which is
it's like, the kids won't tell the difference.
What's even crazier is that a lot of the times, if they had just kept their original designs, they would have been easier to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we recently did an episode for Metal Man. I'm not sure what order these are going in, but looking at Metal Man and how complex he is, I'm like, dude, if you just drew Metal Man from the games, it's less lines.
Yeah,
it's
like
just
a lot
easier.
less lines.
Like, why didn't you just do that? You know? So they like made it needlessly complicated, and I just feel like they just really did not know what they were onto. And I guess maybe at the time the culture just wasn't there. You know, wrong place, wrong time, you know. But I feel like something like this nowadays would totally catch on if they could somehow get the cooperation of everyone. But I just feel like companies now are just too big to ever do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're ever gonna get the like Smash Brothers is I think Smash Brothers is like the one and only example of this, and it took Nintendo to do it, because Nintendo is like, you know, like the big daddy of all video game companies, and they can do stuff like that. But if like a random little upstart company, like whoever it was, I always say this, but I always forget. Let's say it was like Deke Entertainment, you know, let's say it was them, and they were like, hey, we really want to do a cartoon where all these, you know, video game characters get together. No one would be able to cooperate. You wouldn't be able to get it done, you know, because everyone is just too big for their own good to cooperate like that. But back in the 80s, this kind of thing was like, everyone is small, everyone's like, sure, it's free advertising, and that's just kind of what they did. So, you know, in a way, I almost want to say like Smash Bros is like a neat extension of this concept, even if the guys back then had no idea what they were really doing. So, I know a lot of you are currently double-checking the name of the video to make sure that this is indeed still about roll.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to sidetrack like that. I have opinions, and sometimes they just fall out of my mouth. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, they just kind of roll out.
It rolls right off the tongue. Bada boom.
It goes with what we were talking about.
You know, it's all about why these different designs kind of exist, is what I think.
The main takeaway is why.
Yeah, like, why did they do this? What compelled them to create this stupid banana-haired contraption called Mega Girl?
Banana hair.
Banana hair. It's either banana hair or it looks like bundles of hay tied behind the back of her head. It's one of those two. But
yeah, I would say hey. Hey, banana.
But anyway, I think that's just about all we really have to say about these, because it's like, you know, Mega Girl is just a foil of Mega Man, except, you know, girl version. Roll from Ruby Spears is just an excellent character. With amazing character, really great design, really cool gimmick, and doesn't feel like an intrusion on the show.
Awesome.
She's awesome. She's great. She's the role that everyone should aspire to be. And then, of course, there's the crazy movie star role who all you could do is just look at that and laugh, because you're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like we're in on the joke at that point.
Yeah, at this point we get it. It's just, you know, whatever. So, you know what? One thing that we forgot to mention, I'm just gonna touch on this really quickly, and then I want you guys in the comments to kind of do this yourselves. What is your favorite Roll costume? Because Roll has a gigantic library of costumes. She has the classic Roll, Mega Man 8 Roll, Mega Man 11 Roll, Battle and Chase Roll. There's all the different costumes that Roll has from Mega Man Powered Up.
Yeah, I was gonna bring those.
She has some promotional art.
Cute ones.
She's got like promotional art outfits that she only wears in those pieces of artwork. Like she's like at a dance with Mega Man, and there's another one where she's like out on like a family stroll, and she's like in this very pretty dress, and like there's all these different things that, you know, Roll has the most outfits out of anyone.
Oh, by far.
By far. So, you know, we talked in our first take of this, we talked about those a little bit at length, maybe a little too much at length, but there's a lot. So I feel like we're probably just going to throw some of these up on the screen. You go take a look at them, go to the Mega Man Wiki and look at the Roll gallery, pick out your favorite, tell us which one is your favorite, why it's your favorite, and if you have a certain aspect about Roll, or Ruby Spears Roll, or anything, or even just any other supporting character, let us know down in the comments what you think. Tell us if you have any other thoughts or comments on Captain N, and how they treated Roll, if they even knew that it was Roll.
If they even did, yeah.
If they even knew it was Roll. And, you know, let us know if there's any other character makeovers that you like. And I think on that note, we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for rolling in.
Transform and roll out. Ha ha!